Well, now we're going to start quiz number 3 material. Most of the most important stuff in quiz 2 was metric stuff. Milliliters, things of this nature. Well, now there are still a few things in the medical field that are not metric measurements. As I said before, when I began teaching this class, there were lots and lots of non-metric measurements that were used in the medical field. Now there are very few, because most things are going to metric measurements. But there still are a few. The 3 most common you'll see are ounces, tablespoons, and teaspoons. And these are used a whole lot in just common everyday stuff. You work at a doctor's office, you want to tell Ms. McGillicuddy how much to give little Johnny, you'll say, here, give him 3 teaspoons. Give him a tablespoon and a half. Give him an ounce. So that's used on a common everyday basis. So you still need to know what these are and the symbols for these. I did mention this before. Ounce, that's kind of tricky because ounce is both a weight measurement, like you weigh a newborn baby in so many pounds and ounces, but it's also a liquid volume measurement. Like you get a 12-ounce can of Dr. Pepper. That's liquid volume, not weight. Well, either way, the symbol for this is OZ. Now, I got in the bad habit back in high school. Way back, I would ride my dinosaur up to the cave. We'd chisel our homework on clay tablets. I got in the habit back then of putting a slash across my Z's so they'll be distinguished from 2's. You don't need to put a slash across your Z. That's just the way I do mine. Just go with it, okay? So whether you put the slash or not, and you can put a dot, leave the dot off, that doesn't matter, but that's a symbol for ounce. Now for those who bake, tablespoons and teaspoons. And if you do bake, here's what I'd recommend. You want to keep on your toes and get some good practice in. So between now and next week, bake, let me see here, maybe some chocolate chip cookies, a pecan pie. I'll make arrangements to bring it by my house, or I'll pick it up somewhere using social distancing, and I'll see how you're doing. But for those who do bake, see, I like to ask questions to a class out there in front of me, and I can't do that right now. Which of these is bigger, tablespoon or teaspoon? And the answer is tablespoon. Because tablespoon is the larger one, you can use a capital T, a big T, for the bigger spoon. Teaspoon is a little t. Now you can make it this way, make it this way. Either way you make your T, but big T versus little t, be very careful about that. You can also use TBS for tablespoon. Even better is capital TBS to indicate the capital letter, meaning the larger measurement. Teaspoon is TSP. And you can put the dots after those, leave the dots off, that's not a big deal. Don't confuse these two because they both start with the T and they have S, and of course the B upside down is a P. It can be confusing to some people, so be very careful. So here are the main ones. Now you're also going to see, we'll work with these later, pints and quarts. A pint, the symbol for that is PT. The symbol for quart is QT. So more about those later. You won't use them a whole lot, but you will from time to time. Here's a major caution. There is a weight measurement used in the medical field, or used to be used. It's called grains. I mean, a long time ago, back, 100 years ago, it was extremely common. Before the metric system really caught on, doctors weighed out, here's a 2-grain aspirin, here's blah, blah, blah. Grain is a weight measurement. I'm only mentioning this for a couple of reasons. You may see it. In fact, if you look in your book, which you should have with you right now, on page 86, at the top of that page, there is a drug label for this nitrostat, nitroglycerin. These are tablets. And it says, in the kind of bluish color, these are 0.4 milligram tablets. Each tablet has 0.4 milligrams of the nitroglycerin in it. But it also says that's the same thing as 1/150th of a grain. Wow, 1/150th of a grain, whatever grain is. By the way, the grain came from how much a grain of wheat weighs. So who cares? But I only mention this because the symbol for grain as you see in that label, is GR. That can be a problem. In fact, it shouldn't be a problem now because you're not supposed to use grains. When it was used, people quite often confuse GR, grain, with G for gram. And that's one of the main reasons why you're not supposed to use this anymore. You still may see some doctors, been around since forever. He went to med school in 1492. He still may try to write prescriptions using grains. It's just a habit. So you still may see it occasionally, but you probably will never see it. But if you do, do not confuse this with grams. It's very different. In fact, I know a lady, she is a pharmacist at a hospital, and she cannot even enter grains into her computer. It won't even let her because you're not supposed to do that. Now, give me 30 seconds way off the subject. Many of you have seen the term grains. If you are a hunting enthusiast, you like guns, you shoot, you target practice, you're a hunter, then you're aware of the fact that they measure the weight of bullets in grains. Here's a 52 grain bullet, here's a 165 grain bullet. That's a weight measurement. So some of you have seen this, you will see this, but in this course, you're not supposed to use it. Just be aware of it when you see this. Well, after this brief introduction, the next thing we'll do is we're going to talk about how to convert things that are not metric. We already discussed. Anytime you're converting metric to metric measurements, here's a good review. You merely move decimal points, left or right. You jump left, you jump right. Either way, to convert that. Anytime you're converting anything that's not metric, let's say you want to convert ounces into milliliters. Well, ounces is not metric, milliliters is, but since one item is not metric, you can't just move decimals. Or you want to convert tablespoons into ounces, or teaspoons into tablespoons. Anytime one or both are not metric, there's got to be some other way to do those conversions. So that's what we're going to next, is how to convert non-metric measurements.